You're listening to What She Grows Through, a podcast dedicated to empower and uplift Black women to grow their self-worth. I'm your host, Chanel Lemire, one of many dope Black women, creating a community for us to pour into and align with one another, uncovering our true feelings from sexuality to self-love, to begin growing through life and evolving into our best authentic selves. Let's get started. Hey, beautiful. It's your girl, Chanel Lemire, back again with the latest episode of the What She Grows Through podcast. I want to first transfer some of this energy onto you. I hope your day is going great. I hope you're doing a thing that gives you all the feels. The topics I've covered so far, I've been utilizing them in my life. So, yes, your girl actually applies these things too. And I'm noticing the more I feel good, I tend to push myself and, continue this feeling. Like, I like this feeling. But I'm pushing myself through that uncomfortableness. And I know that's a word, so we're going to use it. But I just want you to see this transformation. So just kind of being on this current path of my journey, I recently got wind to this idea, and it's not new, but it's new to me. And it's reparenting your inner child. Now, I know a lot of us have stories that shape the women that we are today, but in order to begin healing myself, I have to be in tune with that very woman. I have to start unlearning and relearning myself and what makes me me, with no judgment. Just me authentically, and continue to expand to the fullest extent of myself. It's super deep, but it's very rewarding and I love it. So once you become a mother, so much weighs heavily on you. I know one thing though from my experiences and majority of others, you have to be mentally well with yourself in order to love and nurture your children. And that's a tough ass job, but you already know we got this, girl, we always do, right? But the greatest gift is being a mom. However, it is the most triggering experiences that we continue to live through forever. Everyone is always checking on you when you're pregnant, but boom, as soon as the baby's born, you're left with this human being with no instructions, and you just got to figure this shit out. And a way to keep both you and this baby sane and alive. Now, in all transparency, growing up with my mom and my sister, for the most part, there was love there. And although I have some great memories, I have some that are kind of painful. And I was what they called a parentified child. So it was me and my little sister. My mom worked long hours, of course, growing up. That forced her to be away from the home many times. So with that came a lot of free time on my hands. And although we were told to go stay out of a grown folk, what do they call it? Stay out of grown folks' business. I couldn't, because that was my environment that I was raised in. I'm not going to go into too much detail on everything, but there were, like many little girls, experiences that I remember vividly that hurt my feelings. The shit is sad when you think about it, and I carry her and those emotions with me. I definitely secretly envied some of my friends and their relationships with their family members, with their parents, their mom, their dad. Sometimes, just them having two parents in the home. Like, I didn't have that. So yeah, I was a little swole face about it. You have to have curiosity to begin working through your personal journey. This is how you get to grow and change, to adjust and to adapt We need to be curious about ourselves to really understand ourselves. Every day, I look at my kids and I be like, damn, I have kids. And I swear I lose count, and I tell people that I got like 3 of them things. I probably told you that a couple times. But I mean, it damn near feel like it. But looking into their eyes, looking into the eyes of my children, of my daughter. I have a black daughter. Oh my God, like the feeling of that. I think about their lives often, and I'm so adamant on being there for them in every way that I can. And that mentally and emotional piece, oh, I'm gonna be there heavy, because I know what the opposite feels like. I cannot continue to dwell on those negative experiences as a girl. I have to take this concept of reparenting your inner child, parenting that little girl, how I would and will do with my daughter Ra. Our memories is just so crazy. They impact everything, how we act, because they mold the thoughts in our head. So many of us experience the feeling of being trapped in our minds and our emotions. Like, our thoughts and beliefs, they heavily determine on how you feel, the actions that we take, and the decisions that we make also. The thing is, they sometimes hold us back from achieving our goals. And when our trapped beliefs show up and control our lives in different ways, we're left feeling hella confused and sometimes even helpless. At this point, we desperately crave freedom, but not realizing that in order to do this, we have to have more hope. And I say this word in particular because although we may be suffering in some way, we know that it's just a season. And this is when you have hope. So in order to grow through it, we have to try like hell to push forward. And if we don't, we won't ever get to see what we could have been if we just kept going, kept pushing through. Now, a quote that I listen, the way social media is going, you never know what you get. I don't know if I Googled it. I don't know if I saw it on a meme. I don't know if I saw it on Instagram, but I got it here and I want you to, I'm about to tell it. So it says, while we let go of the past, it's up to us to decide what we hold on to, what we find solace in, what we let go, and what we reach for. And I thought that tied perfectly into the topic that I have for you today, because change is always going to go hand in hand with growth. In order to grow, we need to move forward instead of sitting in the past. And I cannot stay still. I cannot stand still and be complacent. We really have to realize that by sitting in that spot for too long, we might really actually get stuck. Another quote that I saw on IG this time while doing some research on this topic, it said that the past should only be a book that we draw experiences from. And I loved that. Like, that's so hard. In order to move on, we gotta accept that although that shit hurt, and you may feel as though that you can't, know that you can. I definitely experienced this. Being a mompreneur, of course, is rewarding, and I can go on and on about the benefits. Like, whoo, I've been testing myself so much lately. Looking into our childhood, those experiences, they influence so much of our lives till this day. Notice how when you think back, you only remember specific experiences, and that can be good or bad. But they're often just little pieces, like sometimes just split seconds, sometimes just certain encounters with people, like our emotions in that moment, that's what you remember. And these all put together the story of our lives. But the deep part is that these are all the memories that we have left to understand our stories, and it shapes how we share with other people our journeys. So I know in the Black community, we're not supposed to question any elder and how they raised us. It just is what it is, right? Even till this day, that generation has a hard time recognizing that, listen, we adults over here, we grow. I'm grown. But does this happen to you and your family? Like, where you got that one aunt or grandma's best friend that think that they can just talk to you wild and you just sit there and take it. Ma'am, it's a nah for me. But it's crazy. I can tell you so many experiences that I look back on and I wish I could console that little girl, because she didn't fucking deserve to be talked to like that. Now, I'll always remember something a family member said to me, and I'm not going to go on a who said it, but they said, your mom could have flushed you down a toilet. Like, what the fuck? Why would you say something like that to a child? Like, I wouldn't talk to my daughter or no little girl, no child, not even a fucking adult like that. But these things shape our lives and our decisions that we make. It shapes everything. Everything connects. And looking back on this, I can understand why I would want to seek acceptance. And I mean, what that family member said, I wouldn't be here if my mom, quote unquote, flushed me. I was a child. I couldn't do anything about this. And the thing is, if we're not able to express ourselves or share how we feel because of the fear of rejection, of abandonment, all of that, we take all of these feelings into adulthood. So it's just deep. But this life we live is just a bunch of experiences. Our minds constantly are going on, and we're on what we're going to do next, of what we could have done better if we were given a chance. That shoulda, coulda, woulda mentality. I know, listen, I don't even know if this applies, but I know I remember all those naps that I refused to take, that I wish I could have just put them in my back pocket and use them for later. If we're raised in toxic environments, it leads us to question different parts of ourselves. And it might take us a long time to even recognize this. Some don't. I believe the only reason why I am now is because I'm on this healing journey. I'm discovering who I am inside and out, and I'm trying to build an understanding of my feelings. Just imagine if I continued to dwell in that comment and do nothing but become stuck on why I'm even here in the first place. Instead, I'm able to grow through that experience. I have so many little experiences, altercations, and I'm sure we all do, which is so important because we can begin changing that narrative and begin reparenting and repairing that little girl. So how do we start? How do we begin repairing ourselves? How do we begin getting in tune with that little girl and recognizing and understanding those feelings in that moment? I have a few tips on how both of me and you, girl, we can begin working towards this and working towards reparenting that little girl, which the good news is it looks a lot like self-care, which is what I'm all about. So with that being said, we're going to go through this list. I have 4 different tips for you. Now, I've been reading so much information on this, and I'm not sure exactly where I get everything. I told you that before, but I pick what I believe is best to start working on this. And the first one is to get a picture of yourself as a child. Now, a secret of mine is I have this box full of so many little trinkets and memories. I have an old report card from like 8th grade. Oh my God. I have some letters that my dad wrote to me in jail. I even got a couple little love letters too. And the box is funny because it still has my handwriting on it. I wrote in a Sharpie marker. It's a little blue box with, I don't know what's on it. I can't think of it right now, but it has Nelly Boo on there, like written on there. Because listen, that's what I was calling myself back then. What I have a few of are pictures of me very young. And woo, girl, the glow up is real. What makes me feel better is that, we were all booty cheeks for real at that time. And we just thought we was a shiz naive, right? Anyway, I digress. I have a few photos of me as a kid, as a child, and putting this picture in a place where I can easily see it. And this is what you should do. When you do, you go back to that time of the picture, that time when you were a little girl and you experienced those emotions and those thoughts again. And when you do this, though, the trick is to recognize the two. One way on how your child thoughts were at that time, and then look back at that exact experience with fresh eyes in the view of an adult. This is great for uncovering those deep emotions that we may have had built up. So I did this, and the picture I chose, and I'm standing with another girl, and it's crazy because I have absolutely no clue who this girl is. Terrible. But me, I'm kind of posing. Oh my God. I might gotta put this picture up so y'all can just laugh at my pain, or whatever Kevin Hart said. Alright, so boom. I'm back in that time in my thoughts. I found it was easier to be funny, pull yourself back into that space so you can begin unlearning those scripts that you have in your head that you were thinking in that moment as a child. Unlearning those so that you're able to rewrite those for the better, for what's best for you right now, so that you can begin healing. And if you can't find a picture, I say just recreate some of the moments of your childhood through something that you did back then. Maybe it was through play. Or through art, or anything you want. It's just, this is the first step that I think will be good for you, that'll carry you to the next step. Now we're here, we're tuned in to our thoughts, and we're in that moment. Now we're going to write that little girl letter. In doing this, we're going to write everything that you wish you could have heard in that moment growing up. Maybe you needed more love and attention. A lot of us didn't grow up with a dad in the home. Now, this particular subject I want to say for another episode, but was your parent or parents, family, friends, the people who matter, were they supportive? Did they surround you with the love that you needed at that particular time? Maybe you just needed to be encouraged and to feel understood. I know I needed a safe place for me to write out my thoughts. And I did this because I didn't really have the relationship where I could share my true feelings with my mom, or with anybody really. And I feel that comes from a few generational curses, including that little black girls being sexualized early. But I quickly found that I couldn't do this either, because I knew it wasn't sacred. I had hella bad experiences of my mom constantly reading my diary. And from then on, I refused to quote unquote tell on myself. So I had to just keep that shit in. And I know for damn sure that piece still affects me to this day. So yes, second tip is to write and keep writing until you feel you got it all. And girl, I was hella emotional when I did this. A waterfall happened. But when I was finished, I read it over and over. And I actually felt good. It was almost just as good as imagining how it would have felt to have heard that, but only deeper, because you have the knowledge that you have right now with all those experiences, whether a little kid and an adult, you have all those experiences tied into one. And our individual stories, our journey towards wholeness, they all mold us into ourselves. And we have these experiences, and now are able to finally have the resources to really thrive in every part of our lives. So let that little girl know that from here on out, that you'll just continue to make choices that will be for their best interests through that letter. And if you want to keep it and put it away, if you want to, put it up, or however you want to mail it to yourself, I don't know. However you want to do it, just write that letter. It's something about that pen and paper, writing that thing out, actually seeing it, feeling it, like everything is all tied together. Now, the third tip that I have for you to start beginning to learn how to reparent your inner child is to start allowing room for play. Like, we literally do this adult shit every damn day. Like, no breaks. And if you have children, like, you can just forget about it. But we best learn and grow with play. Actually getting involved and taking risks, doing things that we enjoy or even are afraid of. You ever did some wild shit as a kid? I know I did. Like, I was kind of the tomboy mixed with the girly girl. You could definitely find me climbing something. Like, we really used to be on roofs, making mud pies. I was playing with potato bugs. You name it. You get where I'm trying to go. But if you weren't able to do these things as a child, playing, however that looked for you, it may be hard for you now, but it really was and still is important for our mind's development. Of course, it will look different, but the feeling might just be the same, or, maybe a little different, because you can now appreciate that. You can appreciate that feeling. Nowadays, people are so caught up with what others think, how other people may view them if we engage in what, we think, or what they think is too childish now that we a little older, But this is the opposite for real. Being able to allow yourself to play and enjoy whatever it is that you want to do, that shit is beneficial to healing. And that's what we need to do. I remember a specific time that I was over at my grandma's house with my sister and my cousins. My grandma specifically told us that we couldn't go outside in the back and jump on a trampoline while she was away. But we wanted to hella bad, and we did just that. Of course, we got caught. And we thought we was in the clear, but we end up leaving a damn leaf by the back door, shaking my head. Yeah, we got in trouble. I think that was the first time that my grandma gave me a beating. I remember that too. Give an example. All we wanted to do was jump on that damn trampoline. It was rare for us to have stuff like that. I mean, that came with the house that she was renting at the time. But stuff like that, making a cake and decorating it, going to Kennywood without the kids. That's an amusement park here in Pittsburgh, if you didn't know. It's important for us to make the time to do these things so we can experience these. Just plan things that is strictly for play, having fun, and just enjoying yourself. Now, I get to do these things a lot, but I have the excuse of having children. I think this is one of the perks of having kids. You get to do all the things that you wanted to as a child. Bryce and I have been on hella picnics, which I wasn't able to do growing up. I try to do one fun thing when he's with me, and that can be going to the park, an arcade like Dave and Buster's. We do all that, and I'm happy that I get to allow him to experience all those things. There's definitely a self-care trend, and I'm all for it, especially for Black women. Now, a big part of that is utilizing affirmations, and this is the last tip that I have for you. And I believe that it is a great thing. So choose some affirmations that your inner child will want you to hear. Write them out and put them somewhere that you can see. I don't know if you saw that TV series, Being Mary Jane, with Gabrielle Union in it. She had a bunch of sticky notes everywhere around her house for her to see. Now, I don't remember exactly what was on them, but I like the idea. And you don't have to go overboard like her. But look at these every day and read them aloud. We have to organize our minds in order to avoid letting our negative and sad thoughts just fucking linger around. I know what it's like to feel like, you're not good enough, not tall enough, not big enough. I was always considered, skinny mini. But these affirmations read and spoken aloud over and over, the beginning, you may feel a little weird or uncomfortable, but in time, it becomes easier and honestly, hella therapeutic. I was perfect just the way I was. I was an amazing, or I am. However past tense you want to do. I was an amazing girl with a big personality and a little body. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But you know what? You're so strong for that and just continuing on. So, wrapping everything up, these 4 tips help you to begin healing that little girl still inside you. Nurturing and reparenting that inner child will allow your mind to begin unlearning those unconscious scripts that we have, that we learned to adapt and to survive, basically. We have to take that misinformation, because it was misinformation. You were always enough. The fuck? And it's time to relearn with so much abundance just how special you are. Everybody. Just how special you are. My kids will forever have love and support instilled in them heavy. I tell my son all the time how much he means to me, and he's only 4. But he understands. Children at that age are like sponges, and you know this. Their brains are constantly developing, and these experiences will have a big impact on his emotions, his decisions, everything. Question the things that you grew up knowing, and if it's off brand for you, change it up for your inner child and for your kids. I have to love and nurture me the same way that I do my babies, if not more. The way I love my son, the way I love my daughter. And when they mess up, you're there to encourage them to get back up. What we fail to realize is we have to do these things for ourselves too. We're going to fall. We're going to fail at times, but we have to give ourselves that same grace and empathy and encouragement to get back up and to keep moving forward. Now, it's easy to do that for children, but we got to fucking start doing this for ourselves. And I'm sorry I'm cussing, but I'm very passionate in this area. And with that, thank you so much for staying with me this far. This topic is so precious and important to me. And best believe I'll be having other episodes around this, because, girl, we are going to be the best that we can be. This shit is addicting. It feels good to know that you're actually putting in work. So let's start doing the work. You feel me? If you like this episode, definitely rate the show 5 stars so other dope Black women can benefit and find me. There's a new feature on Apple Podcasts all the way at the top in the right corner. There's a plus sign. So you can now just hit that and you'll be following the show. So do that. Hit that real quick. And you can find more on socials, both IG and Facebook, at What She Grows Through. And if you like, you can follow my personal page at Chanel Amir. I look forward to talking with you again. Until then.